Well, we begin with something you likely won't believe, but we have the audio to prove it. Stunning comments from far-left gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams that may seriously hurt her already struggling campaign. New video just emerged of Abrams speaking about abortion at an event at Morehouse College where she claims fetal heartbeats are, get this, manufactured.
There is no such thing as a heartbeat at 6 weeks. It is a manufactured sound designed to convince people that men have the right to take control of a woman's body.
Well, great today. We have Dr. Nicole Saphier. I wasn't aware that there was a conspiratorial plot among the medical industry, among doctors, OBGYNs, medical technicians, nurses, of which you are a part, presumably, because you are a doctor, where heartbeats are manufactured and what we're giving patients audio files of heartbeats when they go into their prenatal appointments. This is absurd. It's conspiratorial, and I hope we hear Democrats condemn this.
Well, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen on social media. I'm waiting for those warning signs for misinformation labeling, because this was a flat-out lie. And facts matter, especially when you're talking to people, and especially when you're in politics and you're wanting people's votes. I mean, unfortunately, people are going to believe what she has to say, but I'm going to just deliver the truth and point out her law is a complete lie. So at about 3 weeks after gestation or after conception, the cells of the heart, the myocardium, starts to rhythmically contract. So really, the heart starts beating at 3 weeks. Yes, you can start seeing the heartbeat 5 to 6 weeks after conception on the ultrasound, but that's only because it's so small and because of all the other structures are in the way with the pelvis. But that heart is contracting very easy. Early on, it is not a conspiracy. It is not anything to do with what she's talking about. And I think that she needs to be held accountable for the lies that are coming out of her mouth.
She should be. We also have Mayo Clinic here, and here's what they say. A baby's cardiovascular system begins developing 5 weeks into pregnancy or 3 weeks after conception. Exactly what Dr. Saphier just said. The heart starts to beat shortly afterward. Emily, I went to my first prenatal appointment on April 14th, 2022. It was a Thursday. My husband came with me. My daughter came with me. We saw the ultrasound. I called my husband this morning. I was like, you remember hearing the heartbeat, right? And he said, yeah, I do. And in fact, I remember you remarking, this is stunning how fast this heart is beating. We saw it on the ultrasound. We heard it. The baby's heartbeat, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Saphier, I think it can be like 160 beats per minute. It is very quick. And it wasn't an audio file, Stacey Abrams. It was the heartbeat of the baby that is still within me.
That's right. And what my takeaway of your really clear, wonderful explanation just now is that it's medical limitations that prevent us from even really acknowledging or hearing or being aware of that in the beginning, that it's not because it's not present, it's because of our technology and the pelvis in the way. So I think that was a really beautiful lesson that I've just taken away. You're absolutely right. And here's my problem with this whole thing, is that this is a gubernatorial candidate. This was, remember for a moment, a presidential candidate. So she's purporting to represent the 10.5 million people of Georgia, the almost 340 million people of America, and this is the extreme view she holds. This dangerous view.
It's not a view, it's a lie. I mean, it's a straight out lie. It's not backed by anything. It is scary that you have these candidates who are coming forth and they can just lie to the American people like that.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's take that and run with it. So this is a lie she's throwing out there, and yet she's trying to represent all of these people. This lie vilifies men, it vilifies physicians, it vilifies rational thought and debate, and yet she's supposed to be that unifier, that representative, that person. And I think, for her to label herself as a champion of women's rights, as a voice of women, that doesn't have to be at the expense of A, lying, but B, of vilifying men and science and rational debate and everything else that she did with that one fell swoop. So to me, the disconnect here, the illogic, it really can't be overstated.
It can't be. And Jackie, Stacey Abrams was asked by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the local paper there in Georgia, what her view was on restrictions on abortion at any phase. And she said this: my support of abortion is grounded in the belief that that is not the role of our government. It's not the role of lawmakers. In this country, we have a partial birth abortion ban because it was revealed, to your point, Emily, as science progressed, how heinous this practice is. It involves dismemberment of a baby partially outside of the womb. I know that's harsh to hear, but that's what it is. It's why it's banned at a federal level. She she supports no legislation, no restrictions whatsoever, which the polling suggests most Americans disagree with.
Right. There was an AP poll that came out before the Supreme Court heard the Dobbs case, and it essentially said that, let me see here, 61% of Americans said abortion should be legal in the first trimester. That seems to be the standard, right? 65% said it should be illegal in the second trimester. 80% said it should be illegal in the third trimester. So she is taking this extreme view, saying she supports abortion in the 9 months. I think most Americans, they don't necessarily look at the heartbeat, and they agree that there is a heartbeat at 6 weeks, but they look at the development of the fetus. I think this is a really important issue on a state level, especially as we're heading into all of these elections now that states are deciding. And the GOP really needs to get its act together when it comes to this, to listen to what the majority of American people want, what they think is reasonable, which is possibly having an abortion up to 12 weeks. 6 weeks may be very restrictive. And if they take that approach, what's going to happen is people like Stacey Abrams are going to get a platform to make ridiculous arguments like this, and you're going to have people on the left supporting her, not even realizing that it's not based in fact. So what the GOP needs to do is take this issue off the table by being reasonable about it, so we can focus on other things: the economy, crime, education, the border, all of the things that are plaguing this country and states right now.
Yeah, and Jimmy, ultimately, voters will have their say. I take the view that Vice President Mike Pence articulated. It's my personal view that this is an issue that's more important than short-term politics. That's my view. It's the former vice president's as well. Voters will have their say. But I think voters in Georgia, it will backfire when you are on this extreme.
Oh, yeah.
We can see the polling already. Atlanta Journal-Constitution came out with this. She's behind by 8 points. 8 points. And voters of color are actually supporting Brian Kemp in double digits. So she's hemorrhaging support in all fields.
She's in a bad spot, which is why she's saying such ridiculous things. And let me be clear, I don't have a medical background, but I heard the heartbeat also. Well, Jenny, we have 1 kid, and I went to the prenatal visit when Maury Povich said it was my baby. I was like, all right, I guess I gotta go. Here's the money, I guess I'll show up, fine, I'm there. But it's a real thing. But what you just said about the polling is the crux of the whole thing. She needs to make this race close enough so she can lose in a way that allows her to claim it was stolen. She knows she's not going to win, and she doesn't want to govern. She can't be relevant without playing a professional victim. That's been the grift of Stacey Abrams this whole time. She has made so much money going out there and saying it was stolen, the vote was suppressed. Never mind how mad people have gotten at President Trump for challenging Georgia. Stacey Abrams lost by 5 times as many votes in Georgia as Donald Trump did. And we've tolerated her introducing herself as the rightful governor of Georgia. She's never conceded. Okay, Stacey Abrams is a clown, and she should just go back to writing romance novels. You know she's written? I'm not making this up. She has written 8 romance novels. She actually wrote 1. The couple breaks up at the end, but the woman wouldn't concede, so they had to just keep going.
Wow, Dr. Saphier, we only have a moment, but you have just been at the forefront of what the science actually says through COVID. When other doctors were throwing the science out the window, you have always been just science. What happened to science in the Democrat Party? I thought they hailed it, but it appears they're on the wrong side of it here.
Well, unfortunately, what we're seeing is extremism on both sides of the equation, as we saw with COVID. So science and physicians and academics have all become political extremes. And so you will have a lot of physicians who won't speak out against a Stacey Abrams such as this. They won't say, well, that's not true. There's a heartbeat. There are all the myocardial cells. But they won't do that. And that's because people are having more allegiance to political parties and what they're feeling as right, then they're actually sticking to the science. And same is still being true for COVID. I mean, we have ample evidence at this point showing, masking doesn't necessarily work in the majority of settings. We know that keeping kids out of school was terrible for them. We also know that repeated boosters for the general population is not supported by the science. Yet you will have, scientists and physician after physician come out and recommend it, even though the data doesn't back it. And it has been devastating what it has done to the scientific community. And I can only hope that, at some point we can get back on track, but it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, maybe we could ask Dr. Fauci on this one. I'd love to hear his thoughts. But Jimmy, quick to that point about revisionist history and the science. I mean, this is the same administration that Karine Jean-Pierre said it was the prior administration that's responsible for schools being shut down and kids not getting back to school. No, the science always said that kids should be in school.
No
it was devastating to their emotional mental health. And now it's, again, total rewrite.
And don't ever forget who else was very vocally saying homeschooling was bad. It was your your buddy Jimmy Fallon, because I was teaching Lincoln for 1 month high school Spanish, and at the end of the first month, he asked me what date we celebrate Cinco de Mayo on. Oh, and I was like, all right, we got to send these kids back to school. Jimmy's not getting tenure. Not good.
Oh, I'd give you tenure, Jimmy.
Oh, you're the best.
I'd take you over many of the teachers we covered.
That's true.